Hi, all. Freeze Cracked here. Hey, trying to think about what to do video on, and I decided I still have some people when I go to nap-ins talk to me about shapes that they have difficulty handling, and some of the stuff seems fairly straightforward to me. But I thought I'd talk about different shapes. Somebody said I like Kinley Rock. Kinley Rock is this West Texas Edwards Formation chert that Kinley Coyan sells. He's on at least right now, he's on knappers.com and has his contact information. But I like this stuff, and usually some of it has natural platforms that are at a good angle and stuff. But there's people that have difficulty dealing with squared off edges, and I thought I'd go over that one more again. I like this stuff because there isn't much waste, and it doesn't have a lot of cortex and everything, and it's clean. He blanks it to where you can see that there aren't, a bunch of cracks in it or anything like that. So I think it's good value stuff. But anyway, basically what I try and do when I'm edging a rock is create good platforms that I can then do something with. And if I've got a rock that has a number of square edges, I'll just take a couple of different spots and knock them down and create the bevel I want, and then zigzag to the others. And you can do that all the way around. I'm trying to decide what to show you first. My brain's tired. I'll just go with this one. I'm just going to do some quick edging of some of these things a little bit. The whole concept is to end up with platforms at the right height. Like, what I'll tend to do is go tilt downward and go straight down, because when I do that, tilt downward and go straight down a little bit, it creates a bevel back the other way. So then, most people would call it zigzagging. When you flip it, you've got an easy platform to deal with. So I'll go downward pretty much on that too, and it starts a zigzag. If it isn't down enough, I'll hit it again. And I could flip it and hit there, but I'm going to leave that because that's in an okay location. I'll go ahead and hit this one. And that one went in a little more because of the support I had on it. So I'll flip it and hit down on this one. And you can see what it's doing. It basically just creates an edge that's easy to deal with, and also easy to make pretty thick flakes. Okay, so there's like a ridge there. So instead of just hitting straight down on this one, I'm going to hit inward a little bit more, tilt it up a little bit instead of tilting it down, and just hit across there. And then that's all messed up, so I'm just going to knock that off. Knock this down. Well, I've still left some square edges on there. I guess I can hit some more. A little bit of support now. That ran down to there, a little support. But still, more or less downward. I'm not really trying to do thinning or do anything else. I was just trying to show you how to get platforms everywhere. See how downward I'm doing this and supporting it a little bit? I've still got a couple of diamonds on here. I call these things diamonds. That diamond off, and that diamond's off. Come back on this one more time and then show you. Okay, so anyway, now if you look at this, see there's no square edges. They're all kind of gone. Let's do another one. Square, not really square, but weird. Little square, little square. And you just look at it and you say, well, where can I hit? This is cortex, but the angle is okay. So what I try and do is get through the cortex enough to where I can put a little shock into the piece to take the flake. And since this is all hanging low, down low, I'm just going to try and cut all that off going across. So I will support this one and hit inward a little more. And it just blows all that across, and that wraps around and takes off part of that. Literally, if you study enough how to reduce these sorts of I'm going to do that again. If you study this stuff enough, you more or less can make like an andice out of this and not lose any width or length, because the material is clean, and so you don't have that issue. I'll get rid of some of that. So then I've got this big old square, and you're like, well, how can I attack that? Well, you don't want to hit on this. You want to hit on one of the corners. So you look at it and you say, well, where are the corners? Where are they relative to the center line? Get the knife edges off. And you say, well, that's kind of in the middle. Well, maybe I want to work on the ends first. Doesn't hurt anything to change your mind. I think the first thing I'll do is, this is a little bit right close to the center line, but a little bit low. What I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt this down a little bit, hit on that downward. Then abrade it, trying to get that cortex off. Flip it and hit downward on that. I'm stitching, sort of. And it isn't too high up, so I'll do it again right in here, tilt downward, hit straight down, but with a little bit of support. You can see, so now it's raised. Grind it, flip it and hit again, and again. So now I'm back sort of toward the center line, so I'll just stop that for a second and go over here. I've got a bulb here, so that's a little bit of a damaged area. So what I'll do, and it sort of turned this side, what I'll do is I'll knock down on that, come into there, and then set it up to go back the other way. Let's see, I hit down into it, and you can see that it was already damaged from the bulb or percussion. Flip it. Come down this way. Kind of a ridge there, so I'm going to support that and drive in a little bit on that one. Didn't tilt down as much. Went there with it. Hit it again. Flip it. Head that way, sort of. Once more, tilt it down. Dang it. Okay, forget that. You see, that looks like a problem, but it isn't. Just tilt down and hit downward on it. Don't tilt down too much because you want to get that angle, because then you can flip it, come back. I see, so I didn't tilt down too much. You get about there, support a little bit, hit that angle down. So now I braid it this way, but then flip it and I braid it back up. I'm raising it because I don't want it way down at the face. I want it higher so that I can get a little bit of thinning, but it's still not high enough, so I'm just going to hit downward. Not trying to do too much on those. What I'm mainly trying to do with those would just raise that edge a little bit. So now I braid it, and now it's getting back up more where I want it, kind of between the center line of the face. And do the same thing. Well, let me go ahead and get rid of this other stuff, then I'll show you. Gonna knock downward on that. If you do happen to get a platform set up where you want it, now that's got cortex on it, but it's about the right angle, so I'm just gonna hold it like this and hit inward. All the way down. I mean, at any given point in time, if you see a good opportunity, change your strategy and use the opportunity if it's there. All right, well, this isn't normally the way I would exactly do it. I would go in a little bit more on this, but I was trying to make a big old turtle just to make a point here. You saw the concept of how I went around zigzagging it, but I went real steep with the angle. So now I've got a big old thick fat turtle, but this sinuousness where it zigzags, a lot of these platforms are at a location relatively close to the center line where you can do a lot of reduction quickly with your thinning. I don't know how long I'm gone, but I'll come back and show you that. Hold on.